Hello there, and welcome to the Student View podcast, developed by students for the OVC community. This podcast has been recorded on Kaurna land. We recognise and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, past, present, and emerging. Today's episode, I am sitting down with two Year 11s. They are both passionate about the environment and are starting a fundraiser on soft plastics. I'm also sitting down with Lawrence Fantus, our Aboriginal Education Coordinator. And the introduction of Rewind. So, let's go. Sky and Lana are two Year 11s that are really passionate about the environment. They are here to talk to us today about what they're working on in scientific studies and their new fundraiser, which is going to help decrease the amount of soft plastics at our school.
So the longshore drift is pretty much, you know how, so from Hallett Cove, the currents will come down to Outer Harbour.
Right.
And it'll carry heaps of natural materials like seaweed, sand.
Yeah, and also does pull a lot of unnatural materials down to the Outer Harbour and along our beach, along our coastline, coming up on the shore and stuff.
So for our Year 11 Scientific Studies class, we're running a fundraiser with a company called Zero Co, which is founded by Mike Smith. So Mike Smith founded the company and he wants to tackle the single use of plastics around the households. So he's brought in the idea of forever bottles and refill pouches.
Basically use recycled materials and microplastics that they're collecting from the ocean, and they make one bottle that you keep in your house forever. That's why it's called a forever bottle. And they have refillable pouches with all the cleaning supplies or
like the
products. It could be shampoo, conditioner, hand
deodorant,
hand
laundry detergent.
And they put those products in reusable pouches, which are also made from recycled materials. And you fill up your forever bottle and you send it back to the company, and they clean it and sanitize it and refill it and send it to another customer to use as well. So everything's getting recycled and nothing's going to waste.
Like once you have the forever bottles, you don't have to worry about buying heaps more bottles. It's just the pouches.
Yeah, just the pouches that you refill, and you send back the pouches, so you're creating zero waste.
Okay, so Zero Co has created a link specifically for Ocean View College, which showcases the selection of products that you can buy, and underneath each item is a percentage of the proceeds that will go towards the school.
So, what is your ambition with the fundraiser and how much do you want to raise?
Our goal is $5,000.
Yeah.
Within the 1 month time frame.
But even if we don't make that, we're still helping the beach and all the oceans, because Zero Co, with every $10 that is raised by the school, a kilogram of plastic will be pulled out of Aussie beaches and oceans.
That's fantastic.
It is, yeah.
So, what's the school going to do with the money that you
So
raised?
the school is going to purchase soft plastic bins to put around our area, and that way students can put, say, their muesli bar wrappers, their chip packets, any soft plastics they use with their lunches and recesses or any time during the day. They put them into those bins, from where we will take them to companies who recycle those soft plastics and use them for different purposes, which...
So they're sustainably disposed of rather than just being put
So
to general waste.
That's what all of our proceeds will go towards, whereas the Zero Co proceeds, they will, as we mentioned before, they will remove 1 kilogram of plastic from the ocean for every $10 we raise.
It would help by not putting your rubbish on the ground,
Yes,
putting
of
it in
course.
the closest bin, or even putting it in your pocket and waiting for a bin that's available, because it's not going to help if we're bringing rubbish out of the ocean and you're putting it back.
Thank you, Sky and Lana. It is really important to make sure that we are looking after our environment. So, by donating to Zero Co, using the link in the description, we will be then installing soft plastic bins around the school. We now have the opportunity to sit down with Lawrence Fantus. Lawrence Fantus is our school Aboriginal and SASTA coordinator. So, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Fantus.
Thanks for having me on here, Declan. Obviously, hello to all listeners out there. Also like to acknowledge that we are recording this on Kaurna land, always was, always will be. My name's Lawrence Fantus. As Declan said, I am the Aboriginal Education Coordinator at Ocean View College. I also coordinate the SASTA program, which I think we'll talk a bit about later. What am I at the moment? I'm a Year 12 mentor group teacher, outdoor ed teacher, PE teacher, pretty much a jack of all trades at the moment. Outside of school, I guess hobbies just include sport, fishing, hanging out with friends. Yeah, just really trying to find that work-life balance. Just Italian background, which is good as well. So yeah.
How long have you worked at OVC?
So been there for a few years now. I guess I first came to OVC in 2015, and back then it was just a student teacher on my final placement.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to finish mid-year, like a few students back then, pick up a short-term contract at the school, and like everything, the short-term contracts went into term contracts, went into year contracts, and yeah, obviously got permanency a couple of years ago. So I've been at Ocean View since I'd say 16, working pretty consistently, and again, in that time, I've just done everything. I can remember starting off and teaching year 6-7 literacy in 2016, which was harsh. Then, yeah, getting into a bit of PE, I was teaching stage 1 math, geography, history, research project, a bit of science, then sort of, found my niche in Aboriginal education, SASTA, and yeah, at the moment, really that mix of SASTA and PE. So, full circle.
What's your favourite part of your job?
Favourite part of my job would just be, I guess just that sort of change. Like no days, well, there's pretty much so much change. No days like another day. For example, I could be, especially in working in Aboriginal education, it pretty much takes me everywhere. Outdoor ed takes me everywhere. Being a senior teacher is really good because I think we get to see different students. Each year is a new cohort of students. I'm not just working with one class all the time like you would in sort of the primary years. Almost semester by semester, I get a new group of students, new personalities. I get to form, I guess, new professional relationships and get to know a lot more people.
Can you describe your job in 3 words?
All right. Teaching. I'm going to say first one will be balance, and the balance is good because it can be really, really busy at times, I guess, and all your teachers work really hard, especially at the moment. This is midterm, so everyone's stressed. There's a lot of work to do, and you're under the pump. But I guess as hard as you work, it's good to have that balance. When we get school holidays, it's really a time to sort of wind down, relax. You're still ticking over and doing a little bit of work, but you're really just refreshing, resetting, ready for that next term. And I think it's good. Teaching gives you that real nice work-life balance where, you go under the pump, like busy for 10 weeks straight, but then you've got a couple of weeks just to reset. And I think that's the best part of the job. So yeah, busy would be one way to describe it. I said it in there, stressful would be another way to describe teaching. I guess we're sort of under the clock as well a little bit, especially if we teach year 12s or year 11s. We've got SACE deadlines, as you would know, AIF, which is obviously the old research project. Year 12 teachers now start to get a little bit stressed, obviously because we need to submit work by certain deadlines. They don't give us any extensions, so we're sort of like the middle person, I guess, and all that. So yeah, that bit of stress that comes with it, but it also keeps you going. I think a little bit of stress is good. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you moving. And I guess the last way to describe teaching would just be fun. I think, again, being in that PE outdoor ed sort of sphere, and just that unpredictability, you're always out and about doing things. I think as I sit here now, like, what was it? Pretty much if I go back 7 days, last Thursday, I obviously organised and delivered a anti-racism workshop for all the Year 9s at Ocean View College. Last Friday, I was at the Aboriginal STEM Congress at the Convention Centre. So we took some students down there, which was awesome. Obviously, Monday and Tuesday, we had took some SASTA students out, and we're everywhere from Lot 14 in the city. Looking at the new Takari Aboriginal Centre. And then, today, school bouldering. So I took the Year 9s out bouldering for a few hours. Hence why it's been so hard for us to sort of catch up and organise the time. So just always under the pump, but it's fun. It's really enjoyable.
How did you discover teaching, and do you think what you're doing right now was what you were going to be doing? Did you see?
No, I think it's so hard. I think even now, looking at like all of you as you transition through senior school, and like you got to find a job. What are you going to do? Make up your mind. I think it's really hard because you really got not much of an idea. No. As you're transitioning through school. I know come Year 9, 10, I think I wanted to be an architect because I enjoyed math and I was creative and building all bits and pieces. Then as I got to sort of Year 12, I was looking at physio. Yeah. I'm really interested in that. And I remember when I filled out my SATAC application, teaching was always my second preference, and physio was number one. Then, actually, no, sorry, I lie. I had physio number one, thinking I probably wouldn't get that ATAR. I had human movement number two, where I was going to bridge into physio, and teaching is number three. Obviously, I didn't get into physio, got into human movement, so I was at UniSA City East doing that, human movement course. And that was really cool, and we had a bit of skill acquisition and, again, a lot of PE topics. And at that time, about 6 of my friends who I graduated with went into teaching, and I get it, just that appeal. It looked really fun, the topics they were doing, what they were learning about. And that's why I decided about midway through 2011 to transfer from UniSA to Flinders Uni. The rest is history. Sort of finished my teaching degree and haven't looked back. Probably one of the best decisions I made. But, if you would have asked me in Year 9, hey, in 10 years' time, you're going to be teaching, you're going to be a teacher, I would have just laughed at you. And I was pretty introverted as well back then. Yeah. I sort of kept to myself. I didn't talk too much. I hated public speaking. I'd just sort of shut off, wouldn't talk to anyone.
It's really ironic what we're doing now.
And I was going to say, so I look back and I'm like, far out, just like a younger me would never have been doing anything like this. But going to uni was really good, really pulled me out of my comfort zone. I guess like everything, you just develop that skill set as you go. The first few placements where I had to teach, I was like nervous and shaking, and I'd be thinking all night before I had to go in and teach like a simple, maybe 40-minute lesson, what I'm going to be doing. While again, over time you develop that skill set, you grow in confidence, you learn from your mistakes, and then you sort of just work it out, I guess. Said here we are all these years later teaching, talking on a podcast, having to talk, having to talk, yeah.
So you said you manage the SASTA program here at our school. What is the SASTA program for those who don't know?
Yep. So the SASTA program, obviously SASTA stands for the South Australian Aboriginal Secondary Training Academy. It's a program for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. Obviously, they can opt in. It's not compulsory. It's not that, hey, look, you're Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, you need to do this program. We don't force anyone to do it. It's all by choice. It started all the way back in 2005, and back then there was no curriculum attached to it. They just said, look, there's obviously a large gap in when we look at Indigenous education rates, attendance, health outcomes, life expectancy. How can we get students to school?
Yep.
And they saw sport back then. AFL was that sort of, bit of a mode to get students engaged, get them coming to school. So back then it was purely just a football program where students would come to school if they were attending, if they were completing work. Obviously that reward was like football carnivals and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that soon developed to into a curriculum-based subject. In about 2007, they started to introduce or line it up to SACE. So students could actually do subjects, get SACE credits, and obviously still participate in the football side of things. Then I guess go forward another 10 years onto that, and around 2020 it really started to expand, and now SAS is just so diverse. Obviously, at school we've got it for our students in years 8 to 12. We call Big SASTA. The main SASTA is for students in years 10 to 12, and they do stage 1 and stage 2 integrated learning subjects. So while they're doing it, they're getting SACE credits. It's going towards helping them complete school. Again, there's still rewards if we're looking at attendance, behaviour, work completion, just pride, all that type of stuff. If students tick all the boxes, they've got a big carnival down at Adelaide Oval, normally around May, June, reconciliation week, and the students actually learn a bit about their culture through the program, and then when they do go to this 3-day carnival, they really engage with the local Aboriginal community. They learn song, dance, and they perform something on Adelaide Oval, and it's really cool just to sort of sit up in the stands and see the students run out and do something pre-game, which is good. SASTA also have like a STEM academy, so external from school. Students can apply to be a part of the STEM academy, and again, that's all just around science, technology, engineering, math. Where one day a week they're doing their own subjects. We've got a SASTA Aboriginal Basketball Academy, so students who are interested in basketball can enrol, and they do that one day a week. There's a netball academy. There's a lot to
lots of opportunities.
SASTA, just to cater for all different interests. And again, it's gone from this pure football, non-curriculum based program all the way through to really learning outcomes, curriculum based. There's a lot of diversity, so it's not just student who likes football. Now there might be students who hate sport, but they're really interested in STEM, and they sort of take on that STEM pathway.
Equal opportunities.
Which is really good.
So you spoke about that, but what's your main motivation? What keeps you going? Professionally or...
Main motivation, I think, obviously listening to Miss Wilders last week, and she described that moment, like when you just see the student get it, it all clicks, it all works out. I guess that sort of lines up and works for me as well. It's really good that, again, it can be stressful, you're busy, you're grinding away at what you're doing, but then, especially in that sort of SASTA field, you start looking at your students, and attendance might be going up, and because their attendance is going up, they're actually starting to work out what they're doing in the different subjects a little bit more. Their grades are going up because all that's happening. They're not as stressed, they're happy, they're enjoying school, they want to be there. I think seeing that on a whole really gets you like moving and motivated to keep pushing, and I think that's what sort of pushed me into leadership as well. So being at that higher level, I can watch all that change and put things in place to really make sure our learners, and that's just all learners, not just Aboriginal learners, but all the different types of learners that we have at this school succeed. And we really want the best for them. And I think one of those aha moments, 20 minutes ago before we started this podcast, we had an old scholar, Josh Stewart, come through, who graduated in 2018, and same thing, had a pretty rough upbringing, wasn't dealt the best of cards, school wasn't his number one priority. But, as teachers, we sort of got around, we helped him get through it. And then, you look 4 years post-school, he's doing well. He's a project manager at BHP. He's engaging with his community. He's coming back to the school to see how we're going. He's going to talk at the Year 12 graduation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Year 12 grad, which is good. So I think it's just even seeing some old scholars do really well. I saw another one a few weeks ago, just when I was doing my shopping. I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? And she was a real estate agent.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, doing pretty well for herself. So I think even just seeing students post-school do well in whatever field they take. Because, again, not university's not for everyone.
No.
A trade's not for everyone. But it's just finding or just developing that soft skill set, communication, that ability to take some risks that were really going to help you out, I guess, post-school.
Yeah. Are you organised or organised chaos? This can be your brain, your desk.
Very organised, highly organised. I guess given my role and because I'm out so much. Again, today, what are we? Thursday week. I've been at school one day. Been at school one day over the last week. So in that time, all my classes are still running as normal. So everything needs to be on a timeline. Everything needs to be organised. I think I probably communicate with my students a little bit more than maybe other teachers through like day map messages and class posts, and that's just to keep everyone in the loop to where we're heading, what we need to do. Because again, being out so much, if you're not organised, it all falls apart. If you don't hear from your teacher, or it can fall apart quite easily. So everything. And everyone that knows me knows that I'm super organised. Like classrooms, chairs pushed in. There's always a routine as well.
Sense of order.
Yeah, sense of order. But yes, need to be very organised. If I wasn't, I'd be very very stressed. Very stressed.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm super OCD.
Yeah.
Things all like if you looked at my calendar, kids at school are picking on me at the moment for it. It's ridiculous.
No.
Color coded the lot.
No, you need it. You need it. Sometimes you just need that sort of. You need to be organised, have everything down to a T. Because there's just so much on the go. Look at you. You've got the podcast. Obviously, you're working as well part time. You've got school. There's so much for you to manage.
Yes.
And I guess it goes back. That's sort of the theme. What we've been talking about, that soft skill in itself, managing your time, managing your workload, your expectations.
Organisation, definitely.
But at the same time, finding that balance. So as busy as you are at the moment, taking that time out for yourself though, still just to de-stress and relax, do something that you like.
It's important.
Yeah.
So if you said earlier about physio, if you could be anything else but a teacher, what would you have been?
If I could be anything else, I'm really passionate about fishing. Like I love my fishing heaps. So if I'm not at school on a really nice day, and I'm sick, that's probably what I'm doing. But I'd love to, as much as I say, I'd love to be involved sort of in that maritime fishing sort of industry. Somehow, maybe even like aquaculture, tuna farming, something like that would be pretty cool. I think if we had all this technology available to us that I had, I didn't finish school that long ago. It was only, 10 years ago now, but it's not, a massive amount of time. But if I had all this available, I might have probably pushed that sort of recording and doing something around all my fishing a little bit more. But again, there was no sort of market. There was no social media back then, so no one really worried about it too much. So yeah, I think anything around the ocean, I could pick up quite easily.
Now it's time for the trivia segment. If you're on Spotify, you can participate by typing your response in below. No matter your guess, at the end of this episode, I'll reveal the right solution. You can play along wherever you are by recording in your notes on your phone or on a scrap piece of paper. Mr. Fantus might have a guess as well. How many bones does a shark have?
Oh, far out. You think with all the fishing, I'd know. I'd actually probably know this, and I probably could have listened a little bit more and bio and whatnot back at school. And the funny thing is, I actually don't. Out of all the fish I catch and whatnot, I leave sharks alone. I don't kill them, don't target them, because I do a bit of surfing as well. So my karma is if I leave the sharks alone, they're gonna leave me alone. So I'm gonna say, look, most of the sharks just is cartilage, but obviously you're gonna have the jaw and whatnot. So let's go. I'll just go something low. Let's spitball maybe. Let's go 10 bones. See what happens.
Okay. Our next segment is Would You Rather. For those who haven't heard, the game is simple. I pin two objects against one another, and the guest has to decide which one they prefer. You can play along with us. What do you rather? Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Would you rather be able to meet your favourite book character or meet someone famous from history?
Oof. That's a good one. I'd probably meet someone famous from history, and I guess your follow-up question is going to be who.
Yes, who is it?
Who would that be? There's so many famous people you can meet, but I guess the change of pace for me, if I had to go back, I actually wouldn't mind going back a few generations and actually meeting like my grandparents,
nice.
great grandparents, whatnot, like back in Italy, and just have a bit of a chat to them about their life. And I think it's just such a simpler time in a way, like before technology and everything like that. So I think all the people that you could go back, and there's heaps, there's a abundance of people you can go back and talk to. But it'd be good to actually go back a few generations and just see what life was like firsthand, having that one-to-one chat back then about their day-to-day life. It'd be so cool.
Really special. Would you rather be able to slide down rainbows or jump on clouds?
Well, I reckon if the saying's true and that there is a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, I can chase those rainbows, get that gold. Be very very rich out of that.
Would you rather be able to fly like a bird or swim like one of the fish you catch?
I know it might be dangerous swimming like one of the fish I catch. Look, definitely, I'll have to go to fish. Obviously, I do a bit of snorkeling, and I love to do a bit more scuba diving as well. But I think it just amazes me, just the marine life and everything under that sea surface. So I think to be able to swim like a fish and go around, I'll probably be able to find some new fishing spots as well. But to go around, have a look at just what's underneath the sea surface would be amazing, I think. So
there's a lot that we don't know about the water in general. Like there's so much under there that we've never.
Yeah, I think isn't the one of the don't they say that we know more about sort of the outer edges of space and whatnot than we do of obviously the deepest parts of the ocean, like them. Yeah.
Crazy.
We have now reached the end of this episode, but before we go, I have to answer the trivia question. Earlier in the episode, I asked, how many bones do sharks have? Sharks have no bones. Sharks use their gills to filter oxygen from the water. They're a special type of fish made of cartilage. Similar to fish include like rays, swordfish, and skates. If you guessed correctly, then a pat on the back to you. Thank you, Mr. Fantus, for joining me.
Thanks for obviously setting a bit of time aside to talk to me and inviting me on the show. And I think, as a little side note, I think it's really obviously good what you're doing with this podcast, and it's something that Ocean View we've missed, and that sort of community engagement as well. After a few years of COVID and not being able to promote the school in sort of any other way, what you're doing and the people you're getting on and the stories that you're sharing is something really, really good. So well done to you for organising and delivering all this. I can see the effort that goes into it, but also the reward that you get out of it. So well done.
It's been a busy month here at OVC, so for the first time, let's do the monthly rewind. On the 24th of August, we had our Book Week parade. Students and staff alike dressed up as characters from all works of literature. It was a great day for the students. Across the school, open days, career discussions and subject selections are all underway. In the Senior Centre, Year 12s are becoming very stressed, with most of their work due and exams coming soon. We also had an assembly where we discussed recent events and excursions. I mentioned the podcast. And this week we have our annual Art of 12 Sports Day. It is on Thursday the 8th of September. It is a great day for students to show off their athletic talents. Not so much myself, but I will still participate in other ways. Mr. Wilkinson has mentioned that the day is compulsory. As for other sports, weekly sport is still continuing in the gym, with 7 to 9 girls basketball winning against Mount Carmel, and 7 to 9 boys AFL winning against Henley. Unfortunately, the senior netball team lost to Lefevre. And that brings our monthly rewind to a close. For more content, be sure to favourite our page and listen out for more content fortnightly. My name is Declan, and thank you for listening to Student View, developed by students for the OVC community.